author Kit Fennessy, who is, again, another Renaissance man, director of boutique design and media firm Blue Vapors. He's the writer of a food blog, Kit's Cucina Culinaria. And he is now the author of his self-published tome, Tales of the Dark. Welcome to Triple R.
Welcome, Kit.
Why, thank you very much, everybody. And congratulations, by the way, on your third program and already at the cusp of the literary zeitgeist.
Oh, surely you jest.
Well, I tell you, it's hot off the presses, and this is my first interview, so you are at the cutting edge.
Well, your book is hot off the presses.
Isn't it?
It's got that lovely sort of new book feel to it. So tell us a bit about Tales of the Dark, and this is a collection of both short stories, sort of freeform ideas, poetry, and you've self-published it. It's got an excellent endorsement from John Clark on the back as well. Tell him he should be sent to the congratulatorium. So tell us about where these tales from the dark come from.
All right. Well, probably the first thing is I'll take a minor exception at the self-published thing. I'm self-employed, and we have an arm of the business that is publishing. And when I had the book ready to go, I came and I asked the boss if I could publish, and I said yes.
Oh, okay.
So,
look, fair enough.
A minor technical detail.
What a great boss you've got.
I do. Very kind, very kind.
It's good to be on the same page.
By the way, hello everyone out there in Radioland. Oh, it's so exciting. Yes, so anyway, these are short stories and poems, sick, Pomes, and it's basically a collection of my short writings, which I'd have to typify them as light reading. It's not, if you're looking for philosophy or anything very deep, it's the wrong book. If you like a laugh or to find out about people having their heads chopped off with chainsaws, great.
There is a bit of gore in there, but in but also, in a lovely kind of, carnival sort of way. But I guess I'm curious, so we should say there are no less than 27 pieces in this tome of 102 pages, so or 30 if you include the interludes. And a lot of the pieces don't necessarily sort of resolve themselves like a classic short story. So I'm kind of curious, did you sort of impose this brevity on yourself? Is it kind of a flash fiction idea, or how did it all come about?
No, I think I've just got a short attention span. I've got 3 novels that are on the cook at the moment,
right.
And this was kind of like a moment of catharsis for me where nothing was coming out. You're sitting on the toilet for ages, and you finally managed to move a pebble. So so I've got.
This is another metaphor, I
think.
think.
Yeah, well, yes, I hope so. Either that or a simile, but I think. In terms of the shortness and stuff like that, I kind of wanted to make things that would hold my attention for the length of a kind of a tram ride or something like that. So it's a good book on the tram, and by the way, Elizabeth, you were mentioning how it felt lovely and all that kind of stuff. On the back I write, it's an instant classic, and that's because we got it published printed by the same people who print Penguin Classics. So it's on exactly the same paper.
Wow, Morrissey's
cover.
Just done a Penguin Classic. In fact, Morrissey insisted that his first ever book be printed as a classic.
Instantly as a classic, which
yes,
I love.
Do you know, my wife had the Morrissey biography over Christmas. She could not put it down.
It's supposed to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm halfway through it, and it is quite great.
Well, not that he's subject to hyperbole, but he has lots of lines in it like, they finally killed the inner child within, when he only got to 6.
Yeah, see, I love Morrissey's ego. I mean, I think he's
I think he's entitled to it. I'm happy to pay him.
He's always been fabulous in my mind. I'm a big fan. Now, getting back to you, Kit, we are talking to Kit Fennessy about his book Tales of the Dark. Now, some of the stories are set around these parts, and I'm wondering what you find dark and tale-worthy with respect to Melbourne.
Well, you can only really draw from life, can't you, when you're writing? You can make lots of things up. I guess there's an alien schoolboy in there who has vestigial gills, and there's a couple of other weird outer spacey things. But yes, some of the people in Melbourne who I run into, like the checkout chicks, down at my local Safeway. Oh, is it called Woolies now? Am I allowed to mention brands? A general supermarket brand down the thing. So she was smoking a fag out the front of the supermarket and told me a great story about how her son was trying to make his armpit hair grow by gritting his teeth. So, you know, there you are. There's Melbourne. That's noteworthy. Kids, you might cack your dacks if you do that, by the way.
There is like a total grab bag of, you know, characters going on and different voices and all that kind of stuff. Like, you know, there's this the kind of hard-boiled narrator, you know, and dialogue in Brussels Sprouts.
Murphy, yes.
Yeah, and, you know, the alien kid you're talking about, he's kind of colloquial. And then there's a bit of I Say English Gentleman kind of stuff that goes on, and a bit kind of faux, you know, ye olde Norse folk tales and all that sort of stuff.
And there's reworkings of, like, Heathcliff and Uncle Vanya as well.
Yeah.
They make appearances, of course.
So, like, I have to say, kind of, congratulations on a bunch of different styles. Like, writers really frequently say, you know, they talk about the prison of my personal style and all this sort of thing. Did you find that particularly hard, or are you just...
No, I've got a mental brain. I like to be a bit of a human chameleon. And the process of writing it, because I know you're right into process here, Elizabeth, I keep a journal, and sometimes I will write little bits that are based on works that I'm reading at the time. So, for example, there's a spoof of Wuthering Heights in there, which is called Withering Whites. That's great.
And so do you just absorb the kind of tone of it, or do you actually have to really strain like that kid outside the supermarket?
No, they just take over my brain. That Brussels Sprouts Murphy is like Damon Runyon, you know, and stuff.
Right.
So you just kind of, you read Damon Runyon and you go, I could knock up one of those, piece of bits, you know, and then bang, out it comes. So, you know.
One of the other things you've done in the book is you've blocked out, like you've blackened certain words.
Oh, yes.
Why?
What's that about?
Oh, well, it's kind of half for comedy and half for my father-in-law, who was a proofreader. He read it and he said, is this a book for kids? You know, because the opening story I had at the time was that Cedric Chatrell, which is a story about a leaf, you know, and it kind of reads like a kid's story. And I thought, no, it's not kids. Why do you ask? And he said, well, if it is, you've got an awfully large amount of swearing in there. And I know that F's and C's and calls and blimeys and things are de rigueur these days. But, you know, you might want to think about that. And I thought, yeah, I'll just black them out. And
yeah, because what I like is you went the full kind of like spy redaction, you know, like a big black box,
well,
as opposed to maybe your more standard asterisks. What was that about?
Well, I think it's also, it's like the beep, you know, on TV shows when they go, hey, beep, 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 beep.
Yeah.
It works better for comedy and stuff.
Certainly more comprehensive.
And maybe in 200 years, when they're studying this in literature class, and I would highly recommend everybody, quick, run out to your library and order it, because if you can't be bothered buying it, the library will have to buy it through a distributor. I know, that's me. But they might have new rude words and they can put in their own new words.
Oh, that's a great idea.
It will always stay current. I see what you're saying. So, just taking it back to, you know, the instant classic and stuff like that. And obviously, you know, Blue Vapors is a firm that is about design and, you know, maybe multimedia marketing and stuff.
Yeah.
What I thought was really effective in the book, and I should say in another life I do a bit of copywriting, let's say. Yeah. You know, it was really engaging, but also super persuasive piece of rhetoric in the front there. So, you know, you start and you're reading the book, but you tell us very, very forcefully, but very engagingly, well, it's night. You know, okay, sure, you might be on the beach in blazing sunlight, but I'm telling you where you are right now. It's dark. You're going to get on board. You're going to love this book, and you know it's going to be full of absolute escapisms and full ball entertainment. And it really worked. Why did you decide to go with that particular beginning?
Well, let me start by saying I love you, Louise.
Oh.
That's just, you have done your homework.
And here we see more of the persuasive thing that I'm talking about.
and in many ways, I've just lost my stream of thought. But in many ways, I think it must be very difficult as a reader of books. It's like doing your homework. You must have had 20 books. So thank you for actually reading. The introduction's by my literary critic, Verngard Heidelman. He writes all the introductions.
AO?
Yes, he has an Order of Australia. He's the literary punce who gives me credibility, and he basically instructs people what they're in store for on every one of my writings.
But I thought that was a really nice beginning, kind of going, we're opening the door, you're going to love it, strap in.
Well, I'll send him your regards.
Please do.
Thank you.
We've been talking today to Kit Fennessy about Tales of the Dark, and you're launching it late March, is it?
No, it's in early April. It's a very soft launch. I'm understanding how the book market works now. Wheels turn slowly. And, oh, gosh, that's my phone.
Oh,
could you believe it? Hey, Robin's Nest. I better turn that
I
off.
remember that show.
How
That's not
frightfully
dark.
awful.
That's not dark, though, Kit.
Well, I've got to tell you that actually the content's quite light. It's light reading, so I put dark in the title to give it more gravitas and a little bit more marketing, you know. Everyone who I told it's called Tales of the Dark, they went, ooh, that's interesting. That's interesting. What happens there? But the launch, it's going to be at Dimmock's on Burke Street. That's right, Dimmock's on Burke Street on the 3rd of...
No, I think it's Collins.
It is Collins.
Collins Street. Oh, yes, Collins Street on the 3rd of April from 6 p.m, and there's free cabana.
Perfect.
So, you know, come on down, have a piece of cabana on the 3rd of April and get an autographed copy. We'd love to see you down there. And many thanks to Dimmock's for stocking it, as well as the Hill of Content, which is on Burke Street.
Fine bookshops.
Oh, I know. All the best.
Thanks for coming in today, Kit.
Thanks, Kit.
Well, thanks for having me, ladies.
You're listening to Multi-storied with Elizabeth and Lou, and we're going to take a track now. This is Dog Tower out of Tasmania with a track called Trinkets.
Hands off of my trinket.